Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up because today we are doing a book talk on Sibylla Merian. The book is called Chrysalis and the Secrets of Metamorphosis by Todd, so stay tuned. Sibylla Merian is one of those women that was ahead of her time, not only how she lived her life, but also her scientific pursuits of insects. From a very early age, she became very obsessed with insects and their metamorphosis from one thing into another. During Maria's childhood, this is how people thought that you could get flies or bees. I'm going to read directly from the book. To get a fly, sprinkle dead flies with honey water. Place a copper plate heated with warm ashes and watch worms appear. To get a bee, find a sunny space roof with tile. Beat a 3-year-old bull to death. Put poplar and willow branches under the body. Cover it with thyme and serpullium. The bees will emerge. So she's alive during this time of scientific discovery. People are trying to figure out, where do things come from? How does one thing get to the other? It feels very spontaneous. Of course, there is a huge wage of war between science and religion, and how do we mesh those two ideas together? Her father actually owns a printing house, so from a very early age, she is able to hear lots of really interesting ideas from around the world. She is able to just kind of soak up what is happening around the world scientifically, also just academically in general, and socially what's also happening. Her father unfortunately dies when she's around the age of 3, but her mom marries a painter. Now, if you know anything about Sibylla Merian, you probably know more about her fantastic paintings. Now, upon just a quick glance at her paintings, you would see beautiful flowers, beautiful insects, you might even see reptiles or birds. But if you take a closer look, then you're going to start to see that she's showing life cycles of these insects, of the birds. Maybe even a tarantula might be about to devour a hummingbird, or you might see eggs being laid on a leaf, only later to become a butterfly or a moth. She was very, very smart with how she created her paintings, and she was able to sell them throughout her entire life and create guidebooks and scientific books that not only other scientists used, but were also used as decoration in people's houses. But there's so much more to Sibylla Merian than her paintings and her ability to show that metamorphosis. She was one of the first people, and certainly one of the first women, to really dive into this field of science. She was before Darwin. She went on scientific discovery missions, and she also created kind of a lab in her kitchen. At this time when she is growing up, she is not allowed to really express her desire to follow science. She follows a very traditional trajectory for a woman. When she grows up to be a certain age, she becomes married, she becomes a mom, and she creates this lab in her kitchen where she's collecting these insects and worms and just watching them for hours and hours and painting them and drawing them and trying to figure out, how does the egg turn into the butterfly? How does it become the caterpillar? What's going on? She's reading all this information, but she wants to see it for herself. It kind of reminds me of Rumi's poem, Ask a Rose About a Rose, which is very much about go seek knowledge for yourself. Go see it for yourself. Don't take someone else's word for something. She wants to prove it to herself, which I really, really love. She's also the person that is eventually going to go out into the field or go out into whatever environment that she's actually studying these insects and animals and trying to paint them as they're going about their daily lives. This is very new. A lot of the scientists that we are more familiar with, that we study in school, are male, and also usually are creating or trying to recreate nature in a lab. So they're actually having specimens shipped to them so they can set up what they think is a natural way for this animal to live, so that they can observe that. Or the specimen might have passed away during the shipping process and they're going to do dissection. Maria says, that's okay for some people, but I want to go out into the field. And at 52, she drops everything and she funds an expedition to Suriname, and she goes out into the forest, into the rainforest. She talks with local people. She gets her hands literally dirty and bloody trying to figure out where these insects come from and how they live their lives. And she discovers a wealth of information that she ships back home to the Netherlands. And, you know, her scientific discoveries just explode and are seen in other well-known male scientist books, always dedicating it to Maria Sibylla Merian, either by her paintings and her pictures or her actual scientific journal findings. A couple other things to note about this book: if you are scientifically minded, if you are very interested in the topic of metamorphosis, and you will really love Kim Todd's research. She really went for it. There are some copies of the paintings that Maria Sibylla Merian has done, and there's a lot of scientific information about what people believe then, what people believe now, and where science is kind of going, and how they're kind of going back to how Maria went into the field. Now scientists are starting to get out of the labs and go back into the field, go back into nature, and try to understand how things behave in their natural environment instead of trying to recreate it in a lab. Unfortunately, we don't know very much about her personal life because any of her letters don't seem to have survived history. She kind of got lost to history for a while, and it's only now that we're really starting to learn some more about her. Again, mostly thanks to Kim Todd, who's written this fantastic book. And I love how Kim Todd kind of wraps up Maria Sibylla Merian's life. She says, "Look after your mother, plant trees, and see for yourself." That is a perfect kind of summary of the person, as far as we know, that is Maria Sibylla Merian. The other idea I want to leave you with is from Kim Todd's own words, the author of this book. She says, "We are all transforming into something new, moment by moment, cell by cell, every day." That is such a beautiful way to wrap up the idea of metamorphosis. And even though we do have one more book in our book talks, which is Seth Godin's book next month, I think this is just a beautiful, eloquent way of saying not only that Maria herself went through a metamorphosis from being the traditional trajectory of being a wife, a mom, and then really breaking out on her own and becoming a proper scientist, but also being one of the first people to talk about metamorphosis and to be able to depict it and describe it and really get away from that first thing that I read to you guys about how to get a bee, how to get a fly, and moving away from basically spontaneous creation and going into a little bit more depth, a little bit more scientific research. So that is the book talk on Maria Sibylla Merian. Thank you guys so much for watching this book talk. I think female scientists especially have been lost to history. Lots of things have been lost to history. And I'm so thankful for people like Kim Todd who are writing and doing so much research on female scientists, female painters, female journalists. It is really important for us to broaden our idea of what a scientist looks like, of what history actually looked like. And again, I think you will really enjoy this book, especially if you are science-minded and enjoy the journey of one woman kind of taking on the world. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday. On Friday, I will be doing a makeup look based on this book, and you don't want to miss it. Make sure you're also following me on Instagram and watching the shorts in between, because I have lots of outfit options for you and lots of before and afters of makeup to make your life a little bit easier and a little bit more glossy. And I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye.